Okay, we're going to get started. So thanks for joining our webinar today. And we're going to talk to you all about our product Fusion and give you an introduction to it and talk to you about what we're going to do with it around the corner and what's coming next, and also talk about what it means to be a Fusion partner. So without further ado, let's get started. So what's Fusion? Fusion is a portal, and it sits above Qlik Cloud Analytics, and it does two things very well in order to supercharge operational analytics. The first thing it does is allows much more widespread adoption of Qlik, and it also gives you the capability to take slices of Qlik data and present them externally to partners. And it does all of those things very, very quickly without having a big project on the go to do a complex mashup. Why is that cool? Very cool, because first of all, it drives better results. You've got many more people making data-driven decisions in the organization, which means you've got a more performant organization. And also, with those external sharing portals, you've got customers and suppliers and key trading partners that are sharing a one-truth set of data with you, and you generally improve sales, improve performance, and get greater collaboration. How does it do this? Well, we've got an example, which I'm going to show you. And if you're interested in Formula One, it's going to be of interest. But before we go any further, I just want to say that here at Catalyst Cloud, we love Qlik. It's amazing, it's awesome, it's fantastic, and it's great, but it's only great if you're a Qlik user. So what Fusion does is just to help make it a little bit better. So our example on Formula One. We've got all the data from last season on Formula One, and that's massively interesting to Formula One fans. So if you were to take that data and place it into Qlik Sense Cloud, how many of those Formula One fans around the world would immediately get value from it straight out the box? Let's take a quick look. So here is Bernie Ecclestone's Qlik dashboard. And straight away, when I look at this, it's not the easiest, most intuitive thing to find my way around. I'm confronted with language like assets and subscriptions and sheets and an insight advisor. And that is not really all that clear what I should do with it next. But if we were to take that same data and those same Qlik apps and place those into a Fusion portal, how many of those Formula One fans around the world could get value from that straight away? Well, this is the answer. This is Fusion. This is what it looks like. And I've got my favorites, which I understand. It just looks like a web page that I'm very familiar with. But more than that, when I look at the navigation down the left-hand side, I'm faced with language that's immediately understandable to me. I know what drivers are and points are and pit stops are and races and so on. It becomes really easy for me to understand exactly what I'm doing and get some value. And then as I drill down and start to look at the season, again, I can see the races. It's all a completely familiar story to me, and I'm going to get value as a Formula One fan straight away. Now, if you take that, basically those Qlik apps, and you replace them with the apps of yours, or if you're a Qlik partner, with those of your customer, then basically those Formula One fans are fundamentally the same as your sales manager or your project manager or your operations director. The business case is identical. You can take those apps and share them either externally or internally in a beautiful portal that becomes very intuitive and very easy to understand. Here are some examples. So this is an example from the UK and the NHS. So we've got a leading hospital, it's in London. They have a high usage of Qlik, but it was historically always within the data team. And it wasn't something that was used out on the wards or in the operating theatres. So this hospital took a Fusion portal to present various apps in it, 53 apps, in fact, in a mashup. And straight away, it took off and led to a huge uplift in usage, with nurses having tablets and wandering around the hospital, accessing data all around things that they perfectly understand with an intuitive layout. So the theatres, the bed management, the activity in the wards, all of those things drove that uplift in adoption and usage across the hospital. Now, when it comes to what we're doing next, I'm just going to hand over to my colleague, Jessica, who's going to tell us what is coming around the corner, because the next release of Fusion is a really big one, and it's important to try and cover some of that off. Jess.
Absolutely. Thank you, David. And thank you guys for making the time today. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is where Fusion is today, where it is heading, but more importantly for me, how we're thinking about your world and our customers' world when we build it. So our roadmap is simple in its intent. You might or might not agree looking at what's on the screen, even if what behind it is quite ambitious. So we're moving through 3 phases: our now, our next, and our later. And the way I'd really summarize it is in this release that's up and coming, we become the true presentation layer for your data. And after that, the shift focuses to something even more valuable, which will be to help you accelerate your decision making. But let me start with where we are right now. So the release that is due to come in the next window is all about making Fusion the place where data comes to life for users. So we've already delivered our conversational data, which is live and available in Fusion now through Qlik's MCP. So people aren't just looking through and clicking through dashboards anymore. They're asking questions and they're getting answers, and those answers have context. We've updated our navigation styling. Might sound small, but it really matters because it's all about making the experience intuitive and coherent and not just like a collection of separate tools and worlds away from what Qlik offers in its native capacity today. In the release that's coming at the back end of this month, we are building out of the box enhanced charts, KPIs, a true object library as part of the Fusion Foundation. So what you guys see is richer, it's clearer, it's easier to interpret at a glance, it's aesthetically more pleasing, and it'll be available pretty much out of the box. We'll introduce configurable alerts and notifications via email, set a threshold in the Fusion interface, receive an email when it drops below, above, or equal to that threshold. That really is a big step because it moves people from passive viewing to being more informed when something actually needs attention, and it removes the reliance of having to log into a portal. And finally, we have started now to shape the Fusion theme engine, which is really about consistency, control over how everything in your dashboard looks and feels across each page. That will be globally, something that you can change the rounding of the borders, how the borders look, the primary colours, the tertiary colours, globally in a matter of seconds. So in short, the now is about one thing, and it's the true presentation layer, where insights are clear, they're consistent, and they're able to provide context. Looking ahead to next, and I think this is, for me, really where things start to become more connected to how teams are working day to day. So really embedding ourselves into that workflow. We're expanding our delivery channels above just email and within Fusion itself. And we'll start to look into things like WhatsApp, Slack, Teams integration. That means insights don't wait for someone to log in. They arrive where it's already happening. We're introducing scheduled narrative reports. So instead of just dashboards, users can get beautiful outputs. They can get structured explanations of really what is going on, not just the data, but what is the story behind it. We're also looking at contextual insights with smart recommendations, a key shift because it's not just showing what's happening, but it starts to suggest what really matters. So next, again, is really about where Fusion starts to feel like more personal, more proactive, and embedded into the workflow of our users daily. And then finally, the later. And this is where the real shift from presenting information moves to actually influencing decisions. We'll start to introduce and look at anomaly alerts with the discovery agent available in Qlik. So instead of users spotting issues, Fusion will do that. And it'll surface them automatically when something just doesn't quite look right. We'll bring in workflow triggers with action buttons directly in those messaging channels. So if something needs attention, it needs action. It's not just an alert, but a direct path to physically be able to do something about it. And predictive forecasting with, again, Qlik's Predict. This is where we start moving from what has happened to what is happening to what is likely to happen next. So the later for me is really about closing that loop from insight to action and then from action to outcome. So if I step back from the roadmap, I think the direction of Fusion is pretty clear. Right now, we're building Fusion to be the best way to present and consume insight. Clean, consistent, and to provide that context. Then we extend into workflows daily, so it doesn't just sit on a dashboard, but it travels with you as the end user. And then finally, by helping teams to move faster on decisions themselves, by showing them what's happening and helping them respond in real time. That is the direction we're heading with Fusion, and it's something that I personally am really, really excited about. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess. That's fantastic. So if I was to summarize, in this next release of Fusion, which is actually at the end of the month, we've got a step change that is going to be really awesome for all of our customers and partners. You've got a true presentational layer that sits above Qlik Cloud Analytics that looks great and it's fast. You've also got these terrific modern visual experiences, just like you'd get generated out of Claude, built on top of and from existing Qlik objects. And as Jess said, we've got that global styling control across dashboards and charts. So if you wanted to make an adjustment to every single chart in a dashboard, you could just pick the theme editor, select the changes you want to make, and they all globally update in one go. A fantastic saving over the native Qlik functionality. And this is what it looks like. So these are actual Fusion dashboards that we are producing in test that are based on this new release. So those objects that you can see on the right-hand side in the main body of the screen are taking the measures and the data from Qlik objects and using Fusion as the presentational layer to make them look fantastic. Another example here from an NHS inquiry that we've had. You can see that fantastic navigation down the left-hand side that is in the language of the hospital, and it looks like it's an NHS product. Another one that Jess put together just this week, because we've had some local elections in the UK, and they were a fairly unusual set of results, shall we say, and we wanted to build something out that we could show the results on using Fusion as the vehicle for that. And this is an example if you've got a sales team that you wanted to manage. So you get all that data out of Qlik and you present it looking at pipeline, looking at revenue, looking at team performance. So hopefully you can understand that every single Qlik customer has use cases that could use Fusion. And yeah, it's those internal ones for teams, executive dashboards, that kind of thing, and external where you want to do something like a supplier portal or a partner portal, or give your customers access to all of their invoices, all of which can be easily done in just a few days with Fusion. Right, so if you wanted to be a partner and take our product to your customers, what's in it for you? Well, the first thing is, of course, money. You get to generate new software license margin by buying Fusion from us and reselling it to your customers, just in the same way as you do with Qlik. But around that, you can create a service wrapper or build new apps for the customer in case they don't exist, if they've got a use case that's external. So you get professional services revenue as a result. And also you can help to build Fusion. You know, if you've got an OEM platform where you wanted to take an idea with a beautiful front end out and market that, then we also have the capability to offer that too. When you are our partner, you get looked after by our colleague Leah, and she is fantastic at doing that. You get access to our partner portal, which is every asset you could wish for that you would need to take Fusion to your local market, branded assets, all the PowerPoints you might need, use case stories. You also get the capability in that portal to self-serve and spin up your own Fusion tenants that you can deploy and connect to your customers' Qlik tenants. We give you a demo environment at no cost, and we can help you build that so that you can use it for pre-sales use. And we also have an onboarding workshop where we just give you a turbocharge to start the relationship. All you have to do is bring your Qlik skills and we will help you with the rest. There's also an ROI calculator. Enter a couple of key metrics and it spins out what your customer could get in terms of payback to prove the value of the platform. So to wrap up, that's it from Jess and I, and this is our colleague Leah as well that looks after the partners. We can give you any Qlik Cloud Analytics customer of yours, a demonstration, a proof of concept, a proof of value, Fusion portal at zero cost to run as a trial. We can even build it using their QVF file. All we need is some brand guidelines and a use case from you. So that's our parting message and our call to action. We would love it if we could work with you to build a Fusion solution for your favorite customer as a next step. And if you want to do that, then please don't hesitate to contact one of us after this webinar, and we will make that happen. Thanks for your time, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day.